Good evening, good afternoon, and happy Sunday. This is the Horace Towns from the Black Super Friends podcast on the second edition of the G series. I am joined today by the award winning and the amazing India Crawford, author. Let me do your introduction. Born and raised in Gary, Indiana, God fearing mother, healthcare professional. You have a Master's of Science in Management degree with specialization in healthcare management from Indiana Wesleyan University.
Correct.
You currently reside in Texas, and you enjoy empowering others to succeed in all areas of life, including credit restoration. So you're a business person too. But I'm going to do my formal introduction where I have had the pleasure of reading your book, Redeemed, and I
Thank
am so
you.
happy that I met you and gained this friendship um, through social media. You're an amazing person. I do follow your testimonials and inspirational, motivational quotes that you give out to most of the people on your social media. And I made sure that I was intentional about having a conversation with you because the book was amazing. And I'm not a reader. I don't like to read, but I must say that I am happy that I had a chance to read this book. And I wanted more people to get to know you. You're in
Thank
Texas
you.
now. You're
Yes,
born in Gary, Indiana, but,
Gary.
but I wanted everyone that we have to get to know you. You're my spiritual friend that I will say is amazing. So say hello to everyone out in the social media land.
Hey.
Hey, I want to ask you in the book Redeemed is a book and it's a 21-day devotional, correct?
That's correct.
In the book introduction, when you start out, you dedicated this book to your grandmother. Why
Yes.
was that so important to you?
Oh man, my grandmother, she's no longer with us, but she is an amazing person. She was my rock and she took care of me, through the good, bad, and ugly. She always had my back. So she's outside of my kids, the most important person ever in my life.
Okay. Now, I'm going back to this one thing again because I've been to Indiana, born in Gary, Indiana. And that's where the Jacksons are from, right?
Well, yes. Well, I was born in Northwest Indiana, but pretty much raised in Gary. Yes.
Okay. Michael, Tito, Randy, Marlon. Okay. What was that like growing up in Gary? Because on the movie, when I watched the Jackson, it just seemed like a industrial town, not a lot of anything going on.
Well, Gary has at one point it was booming, and then the epidemic happened, and it's just like it did go down, but I do see some things that's very encouraging happening in the city. But just it was a lot going on. It was drugs, crime, and just people just trying to make it. But at the same time, there was and is still some great families born out of Gary, Indiana. And, in fact, we have another Grammy nominated person from Gary. So, I mean, big things come from Gary, Indiana.
Okay. I did not know that. I went to Indiana for a wedding and it was different. As I always tell people, especially people of color, to travel and get to know different parts of the country.
Absolutely.
You know what? One of the things I did take from your book, and
Hmm.
as we go into it, and just you, I follow you on social media. We've
Hmm.
had conversations.
Right.
You're not the average person by far. By far, we've had some great conversations. So you're courageous. I like your accountability. So what I took from your book, most of all, was accountability. Can you kind of speak to that?
So yeah, so as you read in my book, Redeemed, I made some mistakes, and I took accountability for every mistake that I've made. It was all lessons and, helped me to become the person that I am today. And I feel like it's important to take accountability for anything in life so that you can move forward.
Yeah, that was the thing I think I took. I know when I first, I was going through something when I first met you. So our
Okay.
conversations were great.
Okay.
And I think not knowing you fully as we first had our conversations was good.
Hmm.
We're able to get some non-biased feedback. You know what I mean?
Right.
But knowing I'm talking to someone that has some spiritual gifts, who has that connection, who's talking about praying and
Mhm.
talking about, faith and being accountable. So I do appreciate that. I think that's one of the things I do appreciate about you the most. Um, on page 56,
Okay.
you were speaking about peace, and you saying, in order for me to have peace, I must want peace.
Right.
What is that? I mean, in depth. Why is that so important? Well, what's the motivating factor with that?
Okay, so I think that people think that peace is just something that you can wish for, but
Mhm.
you actually have to work for peace. Yes, God gives us peace, but you have to maintain it. So, with relationships with different people, if they're not for you, don't force it. Let them be so that you can have peace in your life. If it's at the job, is if it's family, friends, or different places where you go, you just have to be sure that peace is there. Otherwise, you won't have it if you're continuing to go around certain things that you know don't serve you peace.
Okay. COVID, no one thought that this year would be what it was. I
Okay.
mean, at the beginning of the year, we all thought that we had our year planned out. And 2020 started out good. 2020, to me, it was good. I'm like, I had all these trips planned.
Hmm.
I had all these ideas. And then we had the loss of Kobe Bryant. And I
Hmm.
remember the thing where we made jokes about standing the broom up. And don't seem like things have been the same since then. But with everyone going through financial, mental, and different struggles,
Hmm.
some of us related to COVID, what is your best advice, or what is your motivation? What is your motivational speech for people going into 2021?
Okay, so I'll tell you that it was like I attended a conference last July, actually, and it was Millions Conference. It was in DC, and it was, all about rich and recession. So we kind of got a warning. Well, some of us that attended that conference in particular got a warning that a recession was coming.
Mhm.
But, we didn't get the warning about the pandemic. So technically, we're actually, some people are in like a recession and we're experiencing the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
So I would just say, to continue to, take precautions as it is with COVID, but at the same time, do what you can to, make money. And when I say that, I mean, like, start a business, tap into some of those gifts that you have that you sitting on. Don't sleep on yourself. And, really put yourself out there so that you can, make a living for yourself and your family. I mean, you'd be surprised what things will happen. Like, as far as me with my book, God told me to write this book to help people, and it's been a blessing to me and my family, to do that. And at the same time, the book, is selling and it's helping people. You know,
Yeah. So
yep,
you had some personal hurdles that you had to endure this year in 2020.
absolutely. But you know what? God didn't leave me here just to keep me here, and I didn't come this far just to come this far. So my faith is in God is taking me day by day. So I just say, tell people keep the faith, keep the faith. I don't care what it look like. Keep the faith in God.
Well, let me tell you something. So, page 84.
Okay.
Page 84. Now, I have grown a lot this year
Okay.
because while reading your book, we go to day 6, stability.
Hmm.
And all I read, all them words on this page, all I seen was a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. James 1, James chapter 1, verse 8. And I was triggered. Don't know why. I am transparent enough. I was triggered by that. Then I was
Okay.
reading, and what did they mean by that? and I'm just like, for me to be triggered, that means I need to I need to do some more reading on this. But stability, I love this segment of the book,
Okay.
but it just grabbed me for a second. So, what made you? What was so important about this chapter? What was so important about day 6?
You know what? Because I know, like, in the past, like, when I talk about in my book how many times I wanted to leave my ex-husband, for example, and I kept going back. So that's kind of me being double-minded, because part of me wants to leave and part of me wants to stay. But if I would have just made a decision, it wouldn't have been that wrestling back and forth. And I was unable to make a sound decision because it was just too much noise going on. In my mind, my vision was really clouded. So again, you're stable when you can make decisions, because decisions move you forward and to where you possibly need to be. Sometimes we make the wrong decisions, but again, you're making a choice, and that's being stable in my opinion.
I think the thing that stood out with me was about being offended and having
Okay.
offense. And like you said, you were back and forth about you and your husband. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can recall a time where I was so offended that I was just offended. So I acted off of that emotion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Might not have been the best decision, but I made a decision because I was offended and insulted, and I felt the way. And also, you have contributing factors, other stuff that's going on in your life. They may not
Mhm.
allow you to make those rational decisions, or even be still for a minute, or give someone else some grace to kind of, let God do what he needs to do in that situation. So maybe that's why I felt so triggered. Maybe I'm guilty on that, but I thought that
Of
was,
having being offended by something and it not actually going
hmm
the way that it needs to go in a peaceful manner.
hmm
Okay.
yeah, yeah. And then you react out of offense. If you offended and you bothered, the reaction. And sometimes it's not the best decision, but being honest, like I reacted, you're gonna react that way. And instead of praying and trying to stay still for a second, all you care about is what you want done.
Yes, and like, um, I was speaking in general as far as like stable and double mindedness. But in this particular devotion, is basically me saying that I'm guilty of taking offense to certain things, and it kind of, when I took offense to certain things, I could be mad all day, and it's like, who am I hurting? Me.
Yeah.
It's me that has to grow up and move forward and quit all the nonsense. But again, life teaches you in them lessons, and you just go with it.
Yeah, because I'm going back because that was day 6, I believe we were talking about, or
Yes.
day 7.
Uh-huh.
But day 1 is forgiveness.
Yeah. And day one, I chose that one because it's just like, before you can start any of the work, you can do all day 2 through 21. If you skip day 1, you you just still behind. It's like you never started, because unforgiveness, it's in the Bible to forgive people. So you're in error if you're not forgiving people, in my opinion. Well, according to the Bible.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I ever heard was from a bishop at my mom's church,
Uh-huh.
and one of her sermons. Certain things you can never go back from once you know that.
Right.
And she was saying how God forgives us every day. So who are you not to forgive somebody? And I was like,
Every day.
oh man. I was like, man, I mean, that puts a lot of stuff into perspective. So
Mm-hmm.
that is top 3. That Fish Love by this rabbi who had a sermon about forgiveness and love. But
Mm-hmm.
that one I never could really move from. It's like, if God forgives you every day, like, who are you to say you won't forgive somebody?
Right.
So that's why when I seen day one, I said, okay, so day one is first about you.
Yes. Yes. Forgive them. You
Okay.
want people, you want God to forgive you every day. You want to be forgiven when you make mistakes and you do things to other people. So why can't you forgive? Well, why won't you forgive? Like, why not?
Yeah. Now, day 10, I didn't tell you I was going here, but I'm flowing today. I'm flowing.
Let's flow.
Day 10,
Okay.
free. Free.
Hmm.
Elaborate on day 10, free. What's the significance of free? When drama and instability were a part of my lifestyle, I felt stuck and homeless,
Hopeless.
hopeless.
Uh-huh.
Now that I know better, I realize it was all in my mind.
Man,
What inspired that chapter?
because when you allow drama to come into your life,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you're lacking, if I will. It's like, why are you wasting your time? Life is precious. Why are you wasting your time allowing drama to come to your world? Be free. And you being free means that you're free from all the BS, you're free from the drama, you're free from it all. And yes, things come up. Like, I'm not just gonna sit here and act like, I'm just in this perfect world, blah, blah, blah. Things don't happen. No, I be tested. But at the end of the day, I go back and, if I made a mistake about something, I repent and ask for forgiveness and I move forward. But if it's any type of drama or something, I eliminate it. And it helps me as a person to do things on all sorts of levels. And so, like I say, when drama and instability were a part of my lifestyle, I felt stuck and hopeless. Why? Because it's just like, why am I going through this?
Mm-hmm.
Why? And I couldn't figure out why I was going through all of it until I started digging. And once you dig, oh man, so I'm dealing with fear, I'm dealing with rejection, I'm dealing, I'm not, dealing with that now, but I'm just saying back then, those were the things that I unpacked that I was dealing with. I was getting to the root of why was I attracting the drama? Why was I so like unstable in certain ways of my life? But once you unpack and you do the work, with me going to therapy and, meeting with different pastors, and of course, just spending time with God, it helped me. It changed my life.
Yeah, I think that does take a lot of courage.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you have to be willing to put in the work for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not willing to put in the work or half do it, you're gonna get half do it results. So you gotta be all in with it.
Okay. I
Mhm.
know I didn't tell you I was going through all of this.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. I'm with you.
Listen, before we get to the thing that I really got to talk to you about,
Okay.
day 14 is one life. You have one life to live. Live it.
Live it.
What's so that sounds like I tell you, you're a life coach. You do motivation, but some of this comes off like, it's life coaching. And it sounds so simple, but it's like it's like you have to remind people to do the most simplest thing.
Yeah. It's simple, but people don't think about this every day. People, going through the hustle and bustle of life, people, and now with this pandemic, people have so much packed on them that these simple things that seem simple to people that's on a different level,
Mhm.
it's not that easy. And
So,
one life, we all we got is today, you know. And if we blessed to go into tomorrow, we got tomorrow. But that's God's will. And people spend so much time on surface stuff that they forget that don't take life for granted. We only got one life.
yeah,
And If 2020 ain't showed them that we only have one life, I don't know what will.
Well, I think I just read a meme somewhere. It was like
Mhm.
procrastination is tied into arrogance, like believing you will have tomorrow, that you had tomorrow to do what you're putting out today. I
Yep.
thought through COVID, we have had a few memes or a few things that came out of it that has to motivate you to be like, that's kind of stuff that you overlook. So
Yeah.
simple, but you overlook it.
Yes, and I will say, like, if somebody's listening, the smoking of weed, the drinking, the popping the pills, just if you're dealing with porn, whatever it is that you watching and trying to medicate yourself with, cut out all that. Cut out all that. Get to who you are as a person, as a being. Get to you. Strip away from all those things. And who are you? And what's your purpose here in this world? Like, what are you supposed to be doing? And how are you going to get there? Because you're doing all those things thinking that pleases you, but you only doing that because you don't want to deal with whatever it is that you need to deal with.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say that you're not correct. I think the thing that probably amazes me more with you is the wisdom that you have. Like I said, we always have great conversations.
Right.
And you've watched a few episodes of the Black Super Friends. And in
Yeah.
this season, it's like we've talked about love, relationships, the disconnect between men and women.
Hmm.
We have tackled a lot of stuff this year, and it seemed to be conversations that we need to have. Why
Yeah.
are we so afraid to tackle our issues or have conversations about stuff that's going to help us build or help us grow? Why are we having why are we having hard times doing
Hmm.
that?
Well, taking out egos that people have. Men and women have egos.
Mhm.
People set expectations that are just unrealistic. Um, People don't want to deal with childhood issues. Like for me, writing this book, I had to relive everything I went through. And in order to heal and grow from it and be able to speak on these things without, being triggered or feeling some type of way. But yeah, that's it. People not willing to do the work. And I just, again, referring back to the clubhouse, had a conversation about that. It's like some men, they don't want to deal with things that they went through with their moms, things that they went through with their dads, or not having a dad or not having a mom. They don't deal with it. And so you enter into a relationship or a situationship, whatever you have going on, with all of the baggage. And then if the female come with all the baggage, it's just like, man, it's an unhealthy, toxic situation ready to blow open. So people got to deal with certain things. That's a big thing in our community.
Yeah, I will say I loved. What's the one that I can say was a plus from my last relationship?
Mhm.
I love my wife indeed, indeed. But I did recognize that once we got into it, that we shared certain traumas. So
Right.
there was an attraction in that, but also that I did not realize all the stuff I was carrying
Okay.
because growing up, we're going to talk about that at a point. Growing up as a little man, we're taught to be so tough. So no matter who is, don't cry, be tough, suck it up. You know what I mean? So we're meant to be that. And
Hmm.
then when we get older, we've been told like it's okay to be vulnerable and let it out, and men it's okay to cry. But we've been trained our whole adulthood to be this strong guy. Like you got problems, suck it up. You got issues,
Hmm.
suck it up. Deal with it. You're
Right.
weak if you can't handle that. And in that relationship, my last relationship, that's when I finally identified because I allowed her to penetrate and help me see some things. I couldn't get it to go both ways, but allow her to see, like, she allowed me to see like the impact of the relationship with my dad, the relationship with my mother, rejection, expectations, failed expectations that a lot of people don't think about. So I do say that that was a thing, but I said all that to say triggers. Like
Yep.
right now, one of my friends on our show, we did our post production, and he was like, "You have a problem with X, Y, Z," and he said, and I was like, "God, I think I kind of do. It may be valid."
Uh-huh.
It was a trigger, and I'm like,
Right.
now I'm dealing with so many triggers. How did you get through? How did you endure or fight through trying to face or deal with those triggers while trying to heal? You're healing, but you got those triggers, and there's something about a trigger that just takes you all the way out. How did you battle through that?
So I'll tell you, give you an example of, I was married, went through all that, divorce, and then I got engaged a few years later. And I took everything that I went through with the marriage into that engagement. And so I take full accountability, full responsibility, for the mistakes that I made. Me and him, me and my ex-fiance, we didn't, physically fight or anything, but it was just me with my attitude, and just trying to talk to him like, just any old kind of way. And it's just like I didn't, it didn't register. Like, this is a whole new relationship. You don't have to have your guards up so much. You like one time I wanted to check his phone, and he like, "You want to check my phone? Okay." And it's just like, but wait a minute, I didn't find anything, and I never checked his phone again. But that was a trigger for me. Those were things that I did because I was insecure about some things. So once that relationship failed, like, me and him kind of moved in together, living, jacking up, doing all the wrong things. And so God advised me to move, and I moved from his home. But when I moved, it just was like, I was sad that, the relationship was ending, but it was the best thing that has happened to me because it forced me to deal with India, like, grow up. And when I would see, like, if I'm getting an attitude with certain, people, it's just like, India, you got to work on that. So just a constant, like, it doesn't happen overnight. At least it didn't happen overnight for me. So just constantly working towards being the person that I want to be. And then when I would get an attitude, it's like, okay, so why are you feeling the way that you're feeling? Why are you, speaking this way? Just working on it. And, that's how I do it. Just, life is, you're going to continue to grow. So I may be strong in this area, but then it's like, okay, I'm not so high on this level, but I don't beat myself up about it. I just continue to, if I make a mistake, just learn from it and just keep it moving.
I'm glad you said that. Things are just flowing. Things are just flowing because me and you had a conversation a while back.
Okay.
And I did what I was mad people did to me. Right? My reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as beautiful as you are, talented as you are, amazing career, you took the stance, and our conversation ran into celibacy. Now, listen. Now, I confess that I did that, and I didn't get the same. I didn't get support. My homeboys clowned me, talked trash, didn't really support the notion of it. But I had more women that just general conversation had a problem with it more than my friends. They might tell jokes and stuff, but I had found that more women had issue with me saying that that's where I'm at right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they couldn't understand the reasoning and logic behind it. And I was just like, I'm going through some things. My mind isn't there. I want to kind of channel and focus back to get myself spiritually back, mentally back, and hopefully I can return back later on. And in our conversation to you, I'm like, it seems like women are more sexualized than the men right now. But then I did it to you because we're talking about dating and stuff, and you're like, I'm celibate. You're like, if I didn't ever have sex again until I was married or yada yada.
Right.
And I was like, I made so many jokes like, you tripping? No, sister. Girl, I'm looking at these pictures and we having our conversation. Great conversation.
Absolutely.
And you stood tall on it.
Yeah.
How do you get to that point, and how are you maintaining that mental, physical, spiritual position, and why do you suggest it for other people?
Well, as you read in my book, I wasn't always this way. I love sex, so I wasn't like always this way. But once I ended the engagement, I was fully committed to being the best person that I could possibly be. And so with being committed to me and of course to God, okay, let me just say this. So when I moved out from my ex-fiance's home, me and him would still, mess around for a while. And it's like God was like on me, like, but you moved out, but you still want to spend a night. Like, that's not what we. So I was like, you know what? I actually felt so guilty and convicted from that it was just like, I'm not doing this no more. And plus, I don't want to, get pregnant. And I desired marriage. So I just was like, okay, let me just, chill out. And, 6 months turned into a year. And then July 4th turned around to 2 years. And now here we go, 2 years and 5 months. So it's just the time been moving. And how I handle it is, of course, I don't put myself in those type of situations to be like, around certain things, but I just been giving myself time, time to, I read, trying to motivate people and just staying busy.
It's tough. It's tough. You in your prime right now.
Yeah.
How would how do you handle a person that you're dating that you tell that to and he's like, I have an issue with it?
Well, he's not the man for me. If he has an issue with my walk, he's not the man for me. And that's it. We can be friends. When I say friends, not like we gonna talk and text or whatever, but just, hello, if we walk past each other or something like that, but we not gonna be together. We not gonna communicate. Because I tell people I'm keeping my phone line open for my husband. So
Okay. So why? I mean, again, our culture right now is sexualized.
Very. The music.
The one thing that I was really, my ex had an issue with was social media.
Okay.
And I think I fought it just because of that. But now even I'm sick of social media. We use it for our business and our platform, you know what I mean, to get out there. But even the people that I thought was the so-called good person, and that may apply to you saying we're good men, from IG to Twitter, like Twitter's almost like Pornhub. Instagram's like
you wanted me to get on there.
Huh?
And you wanted me to get on there.
You can still listen. TD Jake's on there. It's just you have to monitor your population because that's what I've had to do. Like the people that I follow, I might log on Twitter, and as soon as I see it, I'm seeing butt cheeks. So I'm like, okay, which was it used to be a more of a social website that talked on politics and different various topics when you debate and give your thoughts, but it's changed. Instagram is the same thing.
Yeah.
Most of the pictures I see is like, now I'm at a point where like, show me somebody. So this is when India Crawford is like, thank you. Like, oh, girl, you beautiful. You're gorgeous. Everybody got on the bathing suit or everybody got the picture with the butt or to the side. It's like, be honest, a lot of dudes are even saying like, we tired of it at this point. Why are more women embracing celibacy?
You said why not or why they
Why
are?
are more? Why don't more women embrace it?
Excuse me. I would just say that it's not as popular as it should be.
Hmm.
Um, because you
Well,
know,
what's
it's I don't know.
what's the? Let me stop you.
Okay.
What's the benefit? What has it done for you? Like, what's
Okay.
the benefit?
So I will just say for me, because yeah, I can't really speak for the other ladies,
Hmm.
because I don't know. But as far as with me, it's increased my discernment. It I guess it made my taste better and made me more secure. When I say my taste, I mean like I'm not just, you know, okay, a nice looking guy can, try to talk to me, but what's behind your shell, like what's beneath that, like how's your heart, how's your relationship with God, like I'm asking questions that maybe a cute guy would have blinded me a few years ago, and me not so much look at what's on the inside. And so I'm looking like, okay, what's on the inside of you? Like, how do you talk to your mom? Like, how do you talk to, like, are you and your kids? Like, just a lot more of things that are important to me now that probably wasn't like what 5 years ago. So
Okay.
but I definitely promote it because, unplanned pregnancies, it's a lot of, diseases going around. And again, it's sometimes it stops women in their tracks from getting ahead. They all their attention, all their mind is going to, man, how am I get this, dude to do this and do that. And it's like, girl, get on your own back, get your own stuff. And how you do that is you stay focused. But sometimes they lose focus trying to chase men around.
Okay. Um, and I say that because like I said, our last month of shows has been more about black women and black men, how nobody's able to connect, and
Mhm.
women are saying it's no good men, and men are this and that, and then the men are like, you know, men are in a position now where I think men do want to get married, but they're not liking what they see. So I mean, on both sides, nobody's connecting.
Right.
Everyone's using each other as the excuses. So that's why I asked, you being able to say you could slow down and have some discernment and
Yeah.
have a clear look at
Mm-hmm.
the person that you want or feel that
Yeah.
person you want.
Yeah.
But don't seem like anybody's doing it. I always say, and I get in trouble for this,
Mm-hmm.
um, but I'm neutral. But I always tell a lot of the females, like, you keep looking for the character and the morals and all that stuff that you want in this person, but you're looking at it like he doesn't come in that frame. Like, you're looking at the physical, and that's what I should say. I tell to my cousins, my lady friends, like, you keep looking at the good looking guy and you go there first, and then you engage, and then you try to assess who he is when you
Right.
should be assessing who he is, because sometimes assessing that person's quality, character, the morals
Yeah.
is what makes that person attractive.
Right.
And I got a lot of people that don't agree with that, but that's just how I feel. Like, let me get to know the soul of a person,
Okay.
and that changes stuff. But
I,
that's always been my take.
I agree. And I mean, having more conversations, to kind of close that gap, because you're right. I do see up and down my timeline, like on Facebook, sometimes, the ain't no good men. And then I see men dogging out women. And it's just like, okay, well, how we gonna have black love if we don't have that unity and that togetherness? How can we have that? And so my advice is for people to, again, both parties to be healed and to take some time. Don't just go from woman to woman to woman and then expect for you to marry. You carrying soul ties. You got to sever those soul ties so that you won't be carrying all these bodies into the relationship, and vice versa. Women, severing soul ties. And every time that you get a sexual partner, more you collected, y'all exchanging souls. And if that don't mean nothing alone. Like, I didn't even know about soul ties, when I was talking to dudes and, sleeping around and stuff like that. I just didn't even know about all of that. And, now that I'm free from soul ties, like, that's a whole nother level in itself.
That is definitely a video that you should be doing soon and speaking about.
Yeah,
But
I learned, and so I definitely will share what I know about them.
yeah, I always encourage you to have more, put out more material. And you know what's interesting? As men, we're given different proverbs. When you get over a woman, to get over a woman, you get under another woman. And in the past, that's what we did. Even though, and I on a show, Black Conversations, I actually went against the grain. I was like, I think that's something we got to drop because we're fooling ourselves. They said, what do you mean? I said, it is a ratio of men to women. So we do have options. If you're a decent dude, some decent guy's going to have maybe a couple women if he chose to go that route. But I was saying, when you break up or a woman puts you down, like she's through with you,
You said put you down.
He's still in love with her.
All right.
So you go with another chick, and you over here with this chick, but you're still in love with your ex, and you're still trying to get back with your ex. So you got your energy over there, but you with this person, right? And I was saying that, you kind of fooling yourself because a man is going to have a whole nother relationship, man and women. I want to say man, but your heart is still there, your energy is still there, your thoughts are still there. And I was telling my friends, like, for once, I think you're fooling yourself. So my relationship with my ex is over, right?
Right.
But I didn't date afterwards, and I went the celibacy route for me because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to connect with anybody else if my heart and mind is still there. So let me not go over here because I was meeting people that wanted to date, and I'm like, listen, to be honest, oh, you went through a divorce. I'm like, yeah, but it's not the typical divorce story. Like, like sometimes you leave and the door closes, but you still have love there. Hell, even in an abusive relationship, people have feelings for the person. But I was meeting people that didn't understand. So I had to take the stance to say, this is for me. You know what I mean? Let me go through celibacy term that was not welcomed by, my friends. They laughed, made jokes. Women I was meeting was like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And I don't feel like I respected that position.
Okay.
But I did that for me. And I feel like that's important for once. If I say I want to get married or I want to actually find that person, I got to be in position to receive that person.
Thank you. You get it. And that's what I'm saying. With you taking time to go that route, and you're putting yourself in position to, find your wife. But guys don't give themselves that opportunity. A lot of times they want to just, again, oh, I'm divorced. Let me go find me something. And that's just not how it's supposed to be. If you really, but again, if you divorced and trying to date right after, you got to give yourself a lot of time. To I say therapy, just to kind of talk about it, even if you don't see any issues, talk about it. But then just, then you putting yourself, like you say, in position to run into the one. You're available. You're mentally, physically, emotionally available for that person. A lot of people, like I didn't heard a lot of people not emotionally available to date, but they want to have sex. They just want to do random stuff. So not for me, but I'm just saying, like, I heard guys talk about it.
It's valid. It's valid because it takes some real elevation to come out of that spot. We are physical people. Like that really controlled me for the longest, even inside marriage. Like I had a high libido, and everything can be good, but until that will really control me, where I could not go day-to-day tasks like it's on my brain. Like I have to have that issue resolved. Right. And to be honest, I used to use this quote and say, well, TD Jake said it. He's like, men don't want sex, they need sex. And it is true. It is true to an extent, but
I'm
we
sure he was talking about married men, but
yeah, well, but I'm saying we are so enslaved to that physical need that that's all that consumes us. I mean, we're taught to be that way growing up as little boys, as with daddies, always about affirmation, like how many girls did you get? Are you having sex yet? So we're kind of raised as sexualized individuals. So
so
it's hard to get out of that.
So I have a question for you. What do you think about Ti? And I don't know if you want to talk about it, here or offline, but I gotta know. What do you think about him pushing his sons, to certain things, but checking up on his daughters? And one of them, his daughter, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now, but she graduated. She grown.
Daisy.
Not saying that she should be out here, having sex, but why is it that he's pushing those boys, but trying to keep a lock on his daughter?
Because how we raised. And I'm going to say that.
Okay.
If you look at T.I.'s background,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not talking about Mr. Harris, sir, this is my opinion, so we don't have no beef.
Right.
Tip.
No beef.
No, I want no beef when I come to the A tip. But you look at my life, look at most men, even with my best super friend, none of us have solidified relationships with our fathers.
Okay.
My stepdad was a person that probably contributed to who I was more than my dad. My dad would see me. Mm-hmm. My dad had me, and it was like he had a kid, but he didn't have a kid. I could see my dad and like, hey, what's up, Dad? Like, hey, what's up, boy? And keep walking by. You know what I mean? Right. And before he passed, we start working on that relationship. But as far as mentorship or male, what he put into me was stuff that he got. Like it's a repeated cycle. So what I say by that, my dad, most of the things my dad would always ask me, are you having sex yet? Like that was his biggest thing. Like, are you having sex with? How many girls you got? Are you screwing? It's like, forget everything else. That was just his constant thing. So now all young men want affirmation from their dad. So to me, that badge of honor, that's what's intriguing my dad. Like, okay, this is a big thing to my dad. This is what's going to validate me as a man. This is my manhood. Right. That's what I pushed to do. You know what I mean? I had another issue that kind of I may have broke the cycle for once. Okay. But from my dad to his dad to his dad, that was the scenario, right? There wasn't a lot of manhood building. I don't feel like I got a lot of essential stuff that I needed. My stepdad taught me about working and providing, cleaning houses and stuff. So I said all that to say with T.I. didn't have the best relationship with his father. Okay. Their relationship was really non-existent. I think he would go visit his dad up in New York. His dad would send him money and clothes, but his uncles is what had the impact. With my friend, our uncles had the impact. Our uncle name was JT Money. Okay. I don't know if you know who JT Money is, but he's iconic. He was a rapper that constantly talked about your relationship with women. Don't trust them. If you're in the game, make sure you put it in. You put the house and car in your mama name. Like he constantly talked to you like as you was in a pimp type mindset. Okay. Right. But the funny thing is, all my friends on the Super Friends have daughters. Right. You have a one mind track until you have that daughter. My friend Chris has a daughter. He's an excellent father. On the show, he confesses how now I'm having to repent and I'm having to really work on myself because of who I was and make sure my daughter don't run into who I was. Mario has a relationship with his daughter, great father. Xavier has a relationship with daughter, but I always tell them God give daughters to the players. You know what I mean? So we've been trained to be one way and we've had these influences and we don't realize it until we get to that one moment. Something happens that makes us see, that there's a consequence for what we are doing, or, what we put in is what we get out. So I'm not saying it's right. It's just a repeated hypocrisy. With
Okay.
my sons, I was just more concerned about my sons not turning out to be gay. That was a big thing for me.
Right.
Then in reality, I have cousins that came out and said they were gay, and I'm like, well, it really don't change. It doesn't affect me.
Right.
I love them no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I don't know if you're going to be able to penetrate Ti, but I think it's more about us. Is it acceptance or recognizing what we're doing?
Okay.
You have to recognize it, and
Okay.
that's what we do on the show. Like we repeat stuff because it's put in us until someone brings it to our attention through therapy or our daughter. We don't even recognize it because we just go day to day.
Right.
And it takes a moment before we actually analyze who we are in our decisions and reflect on our lives. So I don't know if I ran it on that, but
No, that was good. That makes sense. That makes sense because I'm just like, why is it a double standard? But it makes sense.
yeah. And we're again going back to how we're built. This is what a man does. This is how a man acts. This is what a man does. And it takes a long time before even our ladies in our life, it takes somebody to come in to us to make us vulnerable enough to open up because we're taught to be such hard people. We're almost like trained to be like Marines or soldiers. So for them, it was their daughters that kind of put that warm spot, got them and made them think like, do I want my daughter to date someone like me? You know what I mean? Or that player type. And then with me, it took me opening up to my wife, you know what I mean? And to be able to be vulnerable. So every man gets to a point where he has to be vulnerable or feel safe enough to explore who he is or what makes me think this way or why do I react this way.
Okay.
But for the most of our lives, we're not proactive, we're reactive.
Okay.
We're just dealing with life. It takes a long time till we get to that point.
Right.
Okay. But listen, glad you did that because now you done throw me off because our conversation has went unscripted. So I get to ask you a question.
Okay.
Last 2 weeks, a guy from Atlanta went viral. Kevin Samuels. Why is it that why? And I pose this question this way.
Okay.
Why is it hard for women to take advice from men about men, despite being a woman? And before you answer that question, what was your takeaway from Kevin Samuels? Because it receives a lot of outrage. Hey, Darren Jones.
So I believe that he, first of all, she shouldn't have called and asked him anything. She should have been going to a therapist to talk about her issues. She was very insecure. For calling him, out of all people, she could have called. She could have called up to the Black Super Friends show, and y'all probably would have treated her. Y'all know y'all would have treated her better than what he did. He dogged that girl. It was like a bullfight, is how it was. But I just think he was off because he could have handled her a little different. Saying that, what did he say? She probably
gonna die alone.
Mix up. What was it?
I know he did tell her she's gonna die alone.
Yeah, you're not God, sir. How can you sit here and say that? It could be tomorrow she bump into her guy at Target or somewhere. How can you say that? You don't know. But with her insecurity, she got to get it together. And now she then dug a hole because she that much deeper because of all the things she has to unlearn and unhear everything that he told her. So I just think that he was off and he needs to, I don't know if he's a licensed person, but he just needs to rethink how he does things. I know he wants numbers and money or whatever he wants. I don't want to speak on a man like what he does, but he did say too much.
Well, I would say that I was actually, everyone had a different take. I actually looked at her to an extent of like, what did you expect coming from him? Like, so I was like, did she go in there to get attention, or maybe she felt like he was gonna tell her how fine she was, or maybe she did expect him to react or say some things that may be offensive. But she, so now she's the girl in the video. No matter where she goes, she's the girl from the video. And the root of all evil, I say now, is attention. Everyone wants to get their likes up and get their attention. My friends defended him, and I do say that he gave some crass delivery. Now his segments go long. His show sometimes are 3 hours, and we hear one thing, women heard something else because they were like, "Oh, he told her she's a 5." No, she said that she was a 5.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when he went back to the 6 figures. In fact, I got a meme that's trending now where on our show I asked last week, I was like, men and women are so different because when is the last time you ever heard a man say he's looking for a woman making 6 figures?
Right.
So the comment right here, because we're looking for peace. We're looking for, I say, even Superman had a fortress of solitude. Peace of mind is everything to us.
Right.
So, like Shannon Sharp said the other day, he's like, I want you to bring something. So it's not about the money for us. It's about how you make me feel. Like, can I feel safe with you? Which you don't hear from men often.
Right.
Deron Jones, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, bro, so don't get mad. He said Kevin Samuels gave a fair analysis based on the information that she gave him. Because she did go to him, he was like, don't say a 7 or something. But when I reviewed it, I don't know if she just got annoyed with him or she started looking at her phone and stuff. And I think that's where he lost it because it was rough.
It was rough. It was hard to watch. And I just think that she shouldn't have went on the show. I'm not going to go to anybody and say, what number I think I am. I'm not doing that. And I know I'm gonna be married because I want to be married. And that's just it. I'm not putting like a dollar amount on it. God know what I need, and that's just it. But for her to say she a 5 and all this and that's a personal problem. And I'm not talking about like a physical personal problem. I'm talking about a mental physical problem. Then he started talking about her lashes and all that. It was too much.
Well, he's got other segments. Like, listen, he did talk to a guy. Well, it was a guy saying that he wanted, he was looking for a certain kind of chick, and he was like, he gave it to him. He was like, do you have a big penis? And the guy was like, oh no. He was like, whether you do or not. It was like, you're a fat dude. You don't make no, you're not making no money, and you don't have nothing to offer. So I thought women would have been happy with that. You know what I mean? I thought people would have been happy with that, but didn't go well. But what could have been different about that?
I think he speaks for ratings, and I just don't think that she should have went on there. Her personally, not being confident in who she is. I don't think she should have went on there. I don't know if it could have went any different, being that she wasn't confident.
What kind of advice would you give that young lady?
I would just say that, get some therapy, go and talk with someone so that you can, build yourself up, mentally. It's not even about the physical looks if you got to do some inner work. So I just say, do that work and, just keep yourself together. And, you'll get a husband if that's what you desire. And that's what if God has that for you.
Okay. I'm going back to one more thing again. Women said she was I don't know, I wasn't gauging, but she said about 6 figures. Why do I keep hearing people put up this list on both sides that they can't fill? So why was 6 figures so redundant? Like, I need someone that's making 6 figures. Like, she's making that. But the reality is most men don't make 6 figures, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be the man. He may be a blue collar guy that works for the sanitation department making 50,000, 60,000. That's
Right.
enough to take care of the home. And I think people miss that. So are you looking for something to define you, or are you looking for a mirror? Because I feel like women can't say they're looking for a mate if you're looking for someone that's going to be equal on paper, because that's not what it's all about in the end.
Right. And I'm not going to put a dollar amount on it. And I mean, get a prenup. I mean,
See, now we're going down this road. So what was the underlying trigger in the video?
um,
What did you pick up? Because men and women gonna have different triggers. Like, what did you get from that?
you talking about the lady video, right? Not the guy, because I didn't really watch the guy, him assessing the guy.
No, I'm talking with the female.
I just think that I just keep saying she shouldn't have went on there. But when he's when he asked her what do you think you are, and she said the 5, and he started, because I only saw clips. I didn't see the actual full video. I really didn't, because I just couldn't stand the clip. And so just the way that she looked, she was so hurt. Her feelings was so hurt, and she should have ended the video. She shouldn't have got on, but she should have ended the video when she started looking crazy.
I might sound cruel right now, because I might sound like one of my castmates.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many she might have felt embarrassed, and she did feel cruel. I wonder how many times did she really do something cruel or emasculated a man that tried to talk to her? Because certain people seem to come off. They'll take, hey, I'm making 6 figures, I'm this, I'm that. And that earnest dude that really wants to get to know them gets like sliced down to death. A comment here from Mr. Jones says, women have always expressed their superficial standards with no pushback. You know, you got to be 6 feet, you got to be six figures, well endowed, muscle, great. And then he also has to be her protector, her counselor. Come on, that's, come on, India. Miss Crawford, what's going on? Like, talk to the ladies. Like, come on, like, that's a lot.
Well, I mean, again,
but that's what he spoke.
People can, like, my thing is, if he's not making 6 figures or whatever, let's come together. Let's like put you in position to, far exceed that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if she was talking about like a low 6 figures, but that's not a lot of money, in 2020 is not. So I don't know what she meant as far as the dollar amount, but I just think let's build together,
Yeah, but now see, that's you, and that sounds good. Okay. I wanted you to comment for that reason. You're different, so this wouldn't apply to you, but that seems to be such a repeated thing, about this demand. And to be honest, that 6-figure guy, 6 foot, well endowed, all that, out of 10 people, that's probably 2 men, right? So you got a whole portable full of women trying to get this at these 2 men, and then you'll say ain't no men out there, right? When you got 8 other brothers who have all those characteristics, morals, and don't get the conversation. You don't even get the opportunity. So I don't feel bad. I always try to highlight that. Like, are you really looking for a mate, or are you looking for an image that is going to complete you in your fantasy? Because, it's all about completion and whatnot. But this is Mario. This is someone I definitely is going to be part of his series. He has a show. So you'll be a part of that cast. Mario from the Black Super Friends, I have a question. Do you think there are some women in the 5 range? If so, what's wrong with being a 5? That's average. And we were saying on the show, what's wrong with being a 5? Like 5 is average. Why is that such an insult?
I mean,
See, you looking
it's just
away.
like he talking about, do she wake up like this and all this and all that. I'm just saying, man, why rate yourself? You look good, you feel good. That's just it. The confidence is here, man. I look good. I look great. If he would have asked me that, I look good. I look good. Thank you. I wouldn't even had entertained all that. I'm just saying, but nothing's wrong with I don't know what a 5 is. I don't know what the numbers are. I
You
just said I
definitely,
don't know what the numbers
because
are.
you ain't no 5.
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know
Yeah,
what that means. It just seemed low. Number 5 is in the middle, so it just seemed low. Just thinking about numbers, but in terms of people, I don't know what that means.
I think it's a humble approach. It's a humble approach. When asked, we asked the date doctor on that same segment,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what would he rank himself? He
Mm-hmm.
said a 7.5. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, well, that's still a humble number, but the 5 just came off as such an insult. And I think me personally, I just feel like we're right now going through an era where everyone's so narcissistic. Not everyone, but a lot of people are so narcissistic. It's like, look at me, we just have to get some kind of attention. And that's what probably bothers me the most. Because
Okay.
again, men are, whether people believe it or not, we're looking for that peace of mind, someone I can confide in, someone that's my best friend. So I don't know where we switch, but things have switched, it seems. Because we're not good enough right now.
I think it's, maybe people are in competition trying to compete with the social media chicks, like trying to get these Birkin bags and
Mm,
trips and, you know, they doing it for the gram, so you got to stop all that. Delete the app from your phone and get back to reality. Get back to reality. I mean, having a nice house is good. Having a nice car is good. Getting a degree is good. Having, if you got a business, cool. But just get back to certain things. You can level up, but at the same time, don't just be unrealistic with your situation.
okay.
Yeah.
So in 2021,
Hmm.
India Crawford will be getting married. We claiming that?
In Jesus' name, amen. I'm telling you.
Okay. Well, listen, we have had some amazing conversations, and I think the best part of it is not having a long history.
Right.
I think that's the best part. That's what I take away from it. So at least you are open to come on to the Black Super Friends
Yeah,
and come on with the rest of the gang
I
for
will.
a session, because we wanted to talk about, maybe next Thursday, we want to talk about therapy. Miss Taraji Henson
Okay.
started. I guess she linked with a foundation where she's offering free therapy for Black men,
Oh,
and we salute her for that. But then there was a moment that a lot of us kind of felt, like free therapy for men. Yeah, we do need it, because we got some guys that need to work through some things, but I don't know. It just didn't really get received properly, because we like, what about Black women? So
is
we
she
want to
doing
have
that
that
because
conversation.
she has a son, or do you
No,
know?
she doesn't. Mm-mm. Well, we had one person that felt like she did it after her breakup. She was dating a younger guy.
Okay.
So we don't know if it's related to that. We appreciate it, because with all these celebrities, all these billionaires, I don't recall anyone saying, hey, I'm putting money aside for, Black men to get therapy. That's something that is impactful.
Yeah.
That's something that's substantial.
Hmm.
I'm always saying we got enough Black billionaires between Tyler Perry, Oprah, and everyone else that we
Hmm.
can have our own airline, banks, etc. But every time I see us get together, we celebrating partying, having money, like that we got money. But I'm like, okay, why we have enough to do for ourselves and we're not doing it, but we complain about what's not being given to us. So
The
for her to do
gatekeeper.
that, I appreciate it. I do appreciate her doing that.
Yeah.
So that's big, you
Yeah.
know. Um, Mario said we can't wait. I don't know what he means by that. I think they want you on. They want you on the show earlier than that. I'm assuming that's what he's talking. He said we can't wait.
Okay. I'm excited.
Yeah, Mario has been called the logical one, and
Okay.
somehow I've become the I don't know, the butthole of the show. I have really fallen.
You?
Yeah, I think I
Mm-mm.
could say stuff. Maybe it's my delivery. We were talking about the episode about women and cheating, right?
Okay.
And I was like, well, there was a movie about this one time. I was like, the best man. I said, God didn't like cheating. I said, in the second movie, God took her away.
The writer, yeah.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
y'all missed that. See, everybody missed that. I didn't miss that. Okay,
No.
so at least you understand me, or act like you do.
No, seriously. I mean, that was the writer. That's how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or me saying, hey, when have you ever seen a man ask when looking for a woman in no dating profile? A man says, "I'm looking for a woman making six figures." Never in history.
No. And it's just like, in the Bible, we talking about the Bible, the man's supposed to take care of the household. And I mean, that's the Bible. And I just think that women, we doing things more now and we can help.
You know what?
You
Before
know,
we
we
go,
need a helpmate. Huh?
I got one last one for you.
All
Cause I
right.
have a beef with this one.
Okay.
Some of these slogans and stuff is misleading. I feel like women repeat it, and I don't feel like it applies to this era because people that fear rejection often give off rejection. Why
Okay.
do I say that? There's a meme that goes around saying, if a man wants you, nothing can keep him away. If he doesn't want you, nothing can make him stay. Now I see that, and everybody be like, "Oh yes, God, oh that's right. If he wants you, you know, it's misleading in the sense that a dude can want you,
Mm-hmm.
and a woman subconsciously like deny access, like make it impossible for him to do what he needs to do. Even establish a friendship or court the
Mm-hmm.
person. A lot of people are not open. You know what I mean? A lot of people are not open. So, like now you're sitting back, like a man has to do so much to just get. I don't know if that's arrogance. I just have a problem with that meme so bad,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why. Yeah, I do know why. I just feel like it's arrogant. Like both people have to be open. Like if I'm dating you, I need you to be open to allow me to have that conversation with you, or be open that the opportunity is there. You know what I mean? For something
Right.
to happen. But you're not just gonna, you know, have me jumping over hoops and hurdles and you not responding. Like I'm gonna just keep on coming at you, coming at you, coming at you, coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And you telling me, oh, if you really want me, you're gonna keep on until I finally give in. I think it's a bunch of crap.
I do too. I just think like, if you know that somebody is pursuing you and the feelings is mutual, you need to give a signal or something, okay, and just kind of give and take with that. When I say give and take, I mean you're courting or you decide that you're going to court, make the man feel like you want to court him and vice versa. But I don't know. It's a lot of things that people got to unlearn.
Yeah, if you let me know that, even if it's a slow walk, like okay, hey, I want to get to know you, but right now I'm just busy. Or hey, I'm working through some things. You know what I mean? Occasionally, but the dude that's inboxing you and you don't have you're not feeling him. Just tell him you ain't feeling him. But
Thank you. That's what I do.
But that on and on and on and on and on.
Mm-mm.
I know people that's like, if he really wants you, he's supposed to do all these things. And it really, I've seen people have guys doing that, and they're not into them, but they take around and then their attention. Oh, somebody bought me flowers. Oh, somebody took me to dinner.
They
You
blocking
destroying
their
the guy.
blessings, and they gonna reap what they sow. They blocking their blessings.
Yeah, because you're
So,
destroying the guy.
hmm?
Because you're destroying the guy. You don't realize that now you're taking me down a walk that is not now. When it don't work out, now I'm putting that on my jacket. Like I'm sending the flowers. I really want you. You allow me to take you to dinner,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's the opposite. But you know you're not into me. You know what I mean? You putting on for the gram, or you putting on for, but you're not into me.
Right.
So then I see you mysteriously and magically start dating somebody else. Well, I've been putting in the work and the energy, and you transition over here. Now, how am I feeling? You know?
True. But I think the guy needs to take heed to what he's picking up, not
Mm-hmm.
just what's being said, but he can also discern, he can pick up when he getting played. You know, don't just keep going on and on. But for the woman that's doing that, you know, just showing out, she's prolonging her possible mate to find her, you know, because you entertaining randoms and you're not into them. So she gonna reap what she sowed, but the guy needs to wake up. Don't do it.
Okay. Well, the best part, well, I ain't say the best part. God forgive me. That closing part of the show, that's all people heard, no matter what Kevin Samuels talked about, is when he told her, "You're gonna die alone." That received so much outrage.
You don't tell
Um,
me that.
but even with our friends, we have, and it's male and female,
Mm-hmm.
that they are so fortified in their habits, their
Okay.
thoughts, their beliefs, and that you really have to be like, I don't know if they ever gonna find somebody. Like, even the reality, like my friends are in their 40s. I have some friends that are late 30s, 40s, and I'm like, it's 4 quarters. Like, the chances are looking a little slim now. You're gonna end up marrying somebody just to say you got married that you really ain't into, but it's 4 quarters. So there are some people that's fortified in their ways and it just would not accept that it's possibly them that's the biggest blocker of those blessings.
Well, that's them. But I will say, like my aunt, she married and she was in her early 60s, you know? Not saying that, I mean, that was her first marriage, but I mean, that's what she did. So I don't want to say like 40s is the fourth quarter, but I mean, everybody's timing is different, you know?
60.
She,
60.
they married. Is she my Facebook friend? So,
Bless you, but I'm not getting married in my 60s. 40s is the 4 quarter, okay?
but I
I
mean,
don't,
I want to get married like 2021, but I mean,
India. We're not getting married in those 60s. We eating cream corn at the wedding. You putting in my teeth? No, not no. Four
well,
quarter. It's 4 quarter.
I,
2021. You a little different. You're not gonna have those problems, India. But listen, you have to be a friend that holds others accountable, and you have to look at some of your friends and say, "Hey, sister, I need you to get it together." It's the 4 quarter.
some people don't want it to get it together.
Okay. Okay.
You could give them advice all day. They don't
Okay.
take it, they don't take it.
Listen, I didn't took this conversation, then turn into a real conversation.
Yes.
But I enjoy you. You know, you're one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the book. I am going to give this book because we're going to syndicate this podcast tomorrow.
Okay.
So someone that tags in the comments say, I want this, I am going to buy this book for someone that's in the comments that wants this book. This is a book that, like I said, I don't like to read, but it did something for me. So I am evolving and changing my ways to receive messages. So closing out, one last question before I let you give out your takeaway, your motivation for others, and how they can find you. The end
Okay.
of this book, the last 3 days of your 21-day devotional. Night is be content. Okay, well, wait a minute. You got another question coming in.
Okay.
Can we ask, what's the process in play to ensure a marriage will come in 2021? Oh, that's a personal question.
You know what? I'm just in position. I'm doing the work.
You're
I'm
open.
I'm keeping my phone line open for my husband, and I'm just not entertaining random people. I can buy my own dinner, so I don't need to. Some people think going to dinner, is just no. I'm not going to dinner.
I don't do that. I
You
don't
said
do
you
that.
will?
I don't do that. My rule is the first communication, it can be a phone call or FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to know that it's worth going to dinner with you, because the man at the end of the month, I'm gonna have $2,000 in Carrabba's or one of those fancy restaurants. If everyone that asks me to go out, a man pays the bills. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's one thing y'all have really gotten over with the man pays the bills. So y'all get some good dinners. Not you, but listen, that's one of the many hustles that's in play. But in your response, more detail, you did the work. You're healed. You're open
Mm-hmm.
to receive the possibility of meeting someone new. Like, you don't have no baggage. Like, you're open
Mm-hmm.
to going into a relationship knowing that you have your stuff together.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I answered it for you.
Thank you.
Last 3 days of your devotional.
Mm-hmm.
Day 19, be content. Day 20 is create. Day 21, redeemed.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, close it out. Tell me about that.
So 18 was love you. Let me go to 19. Okay, yeah, be content.
Mhm.
Just be content with yourself. Be wherever you are,
Love
just be content. And I'm pretty much I'm reading a little bit, and it's saying if you're always focusing on other people, there's just no way that you can do what you're supposed to be doing effectively. Set yourself apart. And so in my Instagram bio, I'm basically saying to be yourself. And it's because everybody's trying to be like everybody else. Nobody's trying to be original. And last time I checked, my thumbprint is my thumbprint. Nobody else has that. And just the way that I think and do things, like nobody can do it like me. And so that's enough. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. It's just out of style trying to copy and do certain stuff like other people. You can be inspired, but you got to be yourself at the same time, and just being content with who you are.
Yeah. So God didn't make a mistake. He made you to be you.
Yes. And
Okay.
day 20, this is towards the end of the journey of all that healing that went on from day 1 to day 19. And so day 20, I'm telling you to start creating memories, start creating the change that you want to see in your world. Don't just be one of those people who complain about everything and never make anything happen. Do your part and the rest will take care of itself. And so this is a freebie. I'm reading it all and saying, write down some things that you want to do with your new mindset. You know that you can do it all now. Attach the date with the things and fly. So basically that means, man, you are empowered now. You're not the same person that you were before you started the whole devotional. You're different. So you can think different. So you can go and grab a white sheet of paper and fill it up with different ideas and different things that you always wanted to do. I know it's something that you want to do that you've been putting off. But guess what? Like we said earlier in the interview, tomorrow's not promised. So why not start doing those things today? So even when we get off the live, think about some things. Think about it. Get the book, of course, but think about some things that you really want to do. Even if it's just, I don't know, going skiing. Book a trip to Aspen. Just do something that will make you happy in knowing that you created that memory. Sorry to go so long-winded. But
No.
that's that. And so redeemed. And I'll just say, God led me to write my book, not for revenge, but to share my story with people all around the world. God is a redeemer, and if He redeemed my time, surely He can do it for you. And don't let anyone tell you anything different. My prayer for you is that you read something that lit a fire in you to live again, love again, trust again, believe again, be yourself again, dance again, dream again, and do the one thing that makes you smile again. You know what it is. Just do it again. I want your life to be changed because the people around you will see your new approach to life, and may it spread and spread widely. So basically what I'm saying is if somebody see that, oh man, so-and-so is redeemed, man, they living their best life, that's going to motivate them or at least inquire them to think like, man, how can I, get redeemed and just get to digging and doing the work and they heal. And it just goes on to the next person. That's the goal.
Okay. Well, I meant to close you out, but listen, it comes with the territory. Andy, you know you're a gorgeous person. You
Thank
do
you.
know that. So I'm not going to expect you to say you're a 5. Uh, Somebody asked, what's the requirements if there are any? And I think this goes back to marriage in 2021.
The requirements.
I guess for marriage, what are you requiring or what are you seeking in that man and that mate?
So I just be general when I say these things because, superficial people can come off and send a representative and try to meet all the requirements like they checking off a list and try to reel me in. The discernment is on fleek, but I'm just saying in general, somebody that's healed, whole, that has done the work and that's desires marriage as well, desires a courtship, secure in who they are because it's men that like me or, different things that I do that level up. Like I'm never the same. Year after year, I grow. And so if you intimidated of me and hating on me, we can't possibly be in a relationship. So you have to be secure and confident in yourself and just, have your own hobbies and doing your own thing. But at the same time, be willing to support me. And of course, be ready to pray and go to war with me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that discernment will come in handy. I must say that, especially when you say pray, because it was something that was even growing up with a mother that was a pastor and whatnot. That was
Okay.
something I did not embrace, and I think I was intimidated to an extent. And that's transparency. We're always transparent on
Right.
our shows. To have someone say, "I want you
Mhm.
to pray," I'm like, I pray for me. But now I'm trying to take a position of praying, like I don't know what to pray or how to pray, but trusting enough to be vulnerable enough to say, listen, I'm gonna try and I'm gonna do it. Just give me some grace as I, cultivate my spiritual walk or me leading us spiritually, which is something in relationships I had never done before, ever. No
And
relationship.
in this situation, for me, he has to already know how to do that. So I'm not the person that's willing to um be like, okay, I'm gonna help you, baby, get up to here. No, we gotta be equally yoked, and you gotta really be ready to go and having your own prayer relationship now. Like I pray for my husband now. I don't know who he is, but I pray for him. And so you should have been already praying for me before we even meet.
Mhm.
So
Man, but you miss it. That's why I say my biggest thing I tell married people in relationships or people that's dating, the grace factor. You gotta have grace because I didn't
absolutely.
have grace for the person, like, or patience. Almost one and the same, but you're saying like you want somebody equally yoked. I get it. But sometimes a brother still just like the guy who doesn't have 6 figures doesn't mean that he doesn't have the ability to make 6 figures or he's not going to make 6 figures in the future. I'm saying that guy who he has a prayer life and he's prayed for you because listen, we praying like I pray for mine, but get to that point where he needs that little slap to say, okay, you pray for this, you want this, I'm depending on you to take your space or get in line or take your position. Because my friend Mario, he comes off spiritually a lot. Like that was my first to be a younger guy, always talking about his approach, how he made a big emphasis on God and his relationship, which the rest of us, my mom is the bishop, she's spiritual, but the men in my life, there's no spiritual. My brother, he's a pastor, so I don't want him getting mad, but men don't really have that spiritual mentorship. You know what I mean? So, there's some brothers out there that's just coming in, or he does accept God and he appreciates God, but him understanding his impact as being the spiritual leader in the relationship and in the home. There's some guys that it's foreign to them. They just didn't have it growing up. So these are why our conversations are good, because, you're the guru, but look at that. Like sometimes I know you say equally yoked, but hey, babe, I'm going to help you. We're going to get there. We're going to strengthen our prayer relationship. So have some grace for that brother.
Well, let me say this. The warfare that comes with my life, if you don't have that prayer relationship with God, it just, man, you may fold on me. You may not be able to handle it. Like I prayed like a lot. I really had to go to war. And so you gotta be able to understand what that means, and like for my last situation, we was shacking up, so I really can't, we was in error, so I really can't compare that. But even with just like if we took sex off the table, the prayer life still wasn't exactly good man. I'm not talking about him. Very good father, very good provider, everything. But it's just he couldn't cover me. And so when I was going through like stuff, even though again I was attacked because we was fornicating, but I'm just saying it's just like you gotta have that because you'll fold on me, you'll run.
Yeah, but guess what? Where you at and where he at, coming into ministry, your faith and your walk, you're a baby for a little period of time. So even though he could be an older grown man, spiritually, he's maybe just starting to walk. Don't mean that he doesn't have a calling. Doesn't mean that, he won't get to a substantial place, So see, these conversations, this is the ones I like, because I don't talk like this with everyone. But it's foreign to a lot of guys, praying and knowing that. And you're saying the warfare that comes, I think God he prayed to get you, and God brought him near you. So sometimes you just know, like, okay, God, I'm seeing something in my realm. So, don't be so quick to run away. Sometimes you just got to reach out, or maybe something's revealed later on. That would be another show with us on right now. Soulmates. I think a lot of people get soulmates confused. People think soulmates is just like this movie character that comes into your life. And I think soulmates, sometimes they come and stretch you, and they don't mean like that assignment they have in your life. That could be your soulmate. But it's not like the Tyler Perry movie. He just comes in and everything's just amazing and all that stuff. So I definitely want to get your take on soulmates when you come on the Black Super Friends podcast.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Soulmates and therapy, because that's what you specialize in. Okay. So closing out, tell people how they can get your book. Tell people where they can find you on social media, and tell them why this book was something that they need to achieve, something that they need to pursue.
So my book Redeemed is available on my website, Crawford.on, if you want a signed copy. Otherwise, it's on Amazon.com. And you can reach out to me on Instagram, Indy Crawford, Indy Crawford. And you should get the book for you or for somebody that you know. I went through a domestic violence marriage. I was adopted at birth, and just a lot of different details that people go through in the Black community that we don't really talk about. It's not highlighted, because people are in fear, embarrassed, or whatever the case may be. And I just opened up and shared my testimony. And it's also a 21-day devotional to help you overcome, heal, and move forward, because I'm in a much better place. Glory to God. And yeah, you should pick up my book reading.
Okay. And they find you on Instagram, Facebook?
Well, Facebook is Indy Janae, but Instagram, Indy Crawford.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Listen, our conversation is probably supposed to be 15 minutes or 30 minutes.
You know how we get.
But you know how we do.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to you coming back on with the Black Super Friends, because I know Mario and Chris want to have a conversation with you. I know Zay as well. Because oftentimes our show is the Black Super Friends. It's the male version of The View. It's four Black men giving our insight. Mm-hmm. But we do recognize that there needs to be a dialogue with the other sex. And, I always brag on my friends. The people that I know are amazing. So all the way from Florida to Texas, I do support you, and I hope that you continue to inspire everyone. And I definitely will look forward to seeing this interview get syndicated and go out through the platforms the next few days. So thank you for having me. Thank you for coming on the G series, because the conversation today, I think this is one of the best interviews that I've had on the G series. And I thank you for being a part of it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Definitely a good talk.
Okay. So stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere. We're going backstage. But thank you for everyone that kind of chimed in today to the G series with the Horace Towns of the Black Super Friends podcast. Yes. So stay tuned.